of MOUs and agreements signed. They will be mere papers until we implement them in spirit and in letter.
Session on Nigeria-South Africa Binational Commission commences as President Tinubu harps on strengthening collaborations for Africa's prosperity. Senate approves 2025-2027 medium-term expenditure framework and fiscal strategy submitted by federal government for implementation.
The following items were recovered: 7 newly made single-barrel guns, 5 newly made double-barrel guns.
Police raid suspected gun-making factory belonging to a family in Akwa Ibom State. Arrest 1 person as suspect's father. Brothers flee. Hello and welcome. This is the news desk at 6 on Nta News 24. We're live in Abuja. I am Stella Inameti. The 11th session of the Nigeria-South Africa Binational Commission, BNC, is currently ongoing in Cape Town, South Africa. The session is being co-chaired by host President Cyril Ramaphosa and President Bola Tinubu. At the opening, both leaders harped on the need to improve on the existing bilateral and trade relations between the two countries. President Bola Tinubu praised that the Binational Commission must be strengthened and intensify the spirit of collaborations and cooperations that would also engender greater prosperity for the continent.
I must, however, sound a note of caution here. Let us not count on successes by a number of MOUs and agreements signed. They will be mere papers until we implement them in spirit and in letter. The job of our senior officials will only achieve the desired goal if we did very well in implementation.
Together we must work to position our continent as the continent of the future and to realize the vision that was crafted by our forebears, that of a free, independent, stable, and peaceful Africa.
And back in Nigeria, Senate has approved the 2025-2027 medium-term expenditure framework and fiscal strategy paper 2025-2027 as submitted by the federal government for implementation. The projections include 47.9 trillion naira proposed budget for 2025, out of which 16.4 trillion naira is for capital projects, while 14.2 trillion naira goes to recurrent expenditure. Projections on oil benchmark, daily production quota, gross domestic product, and exchange rate projections were also approved, following observation by some legislators on the proposed naira to the dollar exchange rate projection at 1,400 naira to the dollar, in which they noted prevailing market rate of 1,700 naira to the dollar. Senate therefore approves that all excess be channeled to debt servicing and infrastructure development. Senate also resolved to investigate reports from the Revenue Mobilization Allocation and Fiscal Commission and the Nigeria Extractive Industry Transparency Initiative, alleging withholding and non-remittance of funds by the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited in trillions of naira. The House of Representatives has passed a resolution urging the President and the Minister of Finance to unfreeze the accounts of the National Social Investment Programs Agency for the reactivation of all social investment programs that were suspended, adopting a motion sponsored by Deputy Speaker Benjamin Kalu and 20 other lawmakers. The House is concerned that crucial social welfare and poverty alleviation programs have been dormant for more than 3 months following presidential directives. Lawmakers say this is taking a toll on poverty reduction initiatives as beneficiaries are being owed conditional cash transfers and small business grants that can cushion socio-economic challenges.
And coordinating Minister of the Economy to A, ensure that all frozen accounts of the National Social Investment Program Agency are unfrozen within 72 hours to enable the smooth recommencement of all the programs of NSEPA. And B, ensure the release of funds to NSEPA for the payment of outstanding stipends owed to 395,731 empowered beneficiaries nationwide without further delay.
I urge the president of this country to mandate the relevant authorities to unlock the warehouses across the country.
National Assembly correspondent Mitaire Ikben reports that lawmakers are also seeking urgent measures by the federal government towards addressing the spate of boat mishaps in the nation's waterways.
Through the Ministry of Marine and Blue Economy and the Ministry of Transport to conduct a thorough investigation into the recent boat mishaps in Nigeria, to provide insights and recommendations on improving maritime safety, urge NIMASA and NIWA to enforce safety regulations and ensure compliance with international maritime standards.
And still from the National Assembly, the House Committee on Pensions wants Pension Transitional Arrangement Directorate to attend promptly to complaints of delayed payment of monthly pension to retirees under its jurisdiction. This was during an oversight visit by lawmakers to PTAT's head office in Abuja. National Assembly correspondent Mitaire Ikben reports on this and other parliamentary engagements.
This visit by lawmakers to the Pension Transitional Arrangement Directorate is to assess progress and identify challenges with PTAD's mandate of payment of pensions and gratuities to retirees of the federal government under the defined benefit scheme. The lawmakers are interrogating transparency in pension fund administration to ensure efficient use of budgetary allocation and contributory pension funds, which they describe as adequate to pay pensioners.
The PFs are controlling over 22 trillion naira of pension funds, and still pensioners are complaining of the lack of payment. If pensions are being paid as at when due, there is no reason why such amount will be lying with the PFC.
About the I'm Alive confirmation exercise. So for those that came to us to verify their aliveness, we were able to maintain them on the monthly pension payroll. But for those that did not come, we would not keep paying people that were not sure are alive.
Meanwhile, the House Committee on Commerce held a public hearing on 2 bills seeking establishment of the Institute of Leadership, Entrepreneurship and Corporate Governance, as well as the Chartered Institute of Business Educators of Nigeria.
This is a bill that is going to capture people at a young age.
In a country with our population size and a significant number of unemployed graduates, we must prioritize equipping our young people with the skills and opportunities to be gainfully engaged.
Lawmakers assured that the proposed bills will undergo thorough scrutiny before passage. From the National Assembly, Mitaire Ikben, Nta News.
Ahead of the 2025 fiscal year, the legislature is assuring government ministries, departments and agencies of continued legislative support to efficiently carry out their mandate. This is during an an oversight visit to National Universities Commission and 2 other agencies by the House Committee on University Education. National Assembly correspondent Muhammad Rabiu Ali reports.
After 4 months of interface with federal universities across the country, the committee now engages heads of agencies on the utilization of 2023-2024 budget. One of such is the National Universities Commission.
Local travel and transport, appropriation 181 million, total actual expenditure 166 million. Is that correct? In that same year, you expended additional 45 million plus what has been appropriated for you. That's my point. We are not running a transport company here that people have to be spending almost 200 million naira for transportation.
There are unintended consequences, unintended expenditures that we do not anticipate. We hold retreats, we convene meetings, we convoke meetings with stakeholders, system-wide, and sometimes it's difficult ab initio to look at that.
At the National Mathematical Center, committee members queried the center over the 2023-2024 budget implementation, with some infractions and underutilization were identified.
We conduct what we call national Olympiads. We bring in secondary school students, we train them at least 3-4 times within the country, select the best, then take them out of the country for competition. That's what we do.
There is no way under a normal government planned expenditure using the financial rules, you collect 11 million and then spend 47 million. It's never had like that. From where do you get the funds?
The committee also visited National Library of Nigeria, where the interface centered on the workforce and training, as well as the preservation of the national heritage. Muhammad Rabiu Ali, Nta News.
The federal government is partnering with the German government to equip Nigerian youth with the requisite skills needed for 21st century job opportunities. The Minister of Labour and Employment, Muhammadu Begari Dingyadi, stated this at the 2024 Abuja Job Fair. Ignatius Nkwo reports.
This is the 3rd edition of the Abuja Job Fair, where over 800 job seekers and over 50 employers gathered for networking, job seeking and offers. The job fair is in partnership with the Federal Ministry of Labour and Employment and the Nigerian Employers Consultative Association, with the support of the German Development Corporation. At the job fair, the Minister of Labour and Employment reaffirmed federal government's commitment to empower Nigerian youth with green and digital skills, emphasizing the importance of skills in preparing youth for global job markets.
This is not just a space to connect job seekers with employers. It is a platform for employment and skill development.
We are not only creating more jobs, but also improving the quality of those jobs to ensure a long-term sustainability.
It was a day for the Nigerian workforce as the Minister of State for Labour and Employment, Nkiruka Onyejocha, at the National Occupation Safety and Health Summit 2024 unveiled 4 policy documents on occupational health and safety regulations. The Nigeria Country Profile on Occupational Safety and Health 2024, Construction and Allied Workers Safety Regulations 2024, Factories Registration Fees Amendment Regulations 2024, and the National Workplace Emergency Preparedness and Response Guide.
To adopt cutting-edge safety technologies and innovations to address emerging challenges in occupational safety and health.
What is needed now are actual interventions that will bring these policies to life.
The theme for the 2024 National Occupational Safety and Health Summit is Strategic Occupational Safety and Health Management System for Sustainable Preventable Culture Development. Ignatius Nkwo, Nta News.
One of many breakthroughs by the Akwa Ibom State Police Command between October and November 2024 is raiding suspected gun-making factory belonging to a family in the state. Clement Barikwi reports that one person was arrested during the exercise, while the father of the suspect and his brothers are on the run.
The gun-making factory, according to police investigations, is a family business where firearms of various sizes are fabricated. One suspect was arrested, while others, including the father and his two sons, are on the run.
The following items were recovered: 7 newly made single-barrel guns, 5 newly made double-barrel guns, 1 special steel double-trigger pistol, 1 broken single-barrel gun.
Also paraded during a press briefing was a suspected serial car snatcher who the police claim has been in the illicit business since 2017, charged to court twice and remanded for similar offenses. The long arm of the law also caught up with a male suspect who stole 5 children of the same mother, while those involved in vandalization, armed robbery, and unlawful possession of firearms, as well as cultism, were not spared.
I did not take those children to anywhere.
We are not going to kidnap him.
One inside there in a stolen vehicle, so that is why I am here.
The suspects will soon be charged to court, while the police are hunting for those on the run. Clement Barikui, Nta News.
This is the news desk at 6. Let's take a break. More news when we return. Stay with us.
From the creeks of the Niger Delta to the breathtaking scenery of the plateau, in noonday and nighttime, we set out to bring to you captivating stories that evoke your emotions. For fascinating documentaries and reports on day-to-day issues with expert analysis, tune in to Nta News24, DSTV channel 419, GoTV channel 26, StarTimes channel 101 and 433, and Free TV channel 703.
Welcome back. Now the rest of the news. The Nigerian Forest and Security Service, NFSS, says a presidential accent will significantly improve its ability to effectively collaborate with other security agencies, including the armed forces, to secure ungoverned spaces and forests across the country. Commander General, NFSS, Joshua Oshotimain, affirmed this at the National Joint Training on Collaboration and Securing Ungoverned Spaces in Nigeria. Olajide Bello reports.
In a nation as vast and diverse as Nigeria, securing its people and territories requires more than just individual efforts from security agencies. It demands a unified approach. Collaboration among the Nigeria Police, the Armed Forces, Civil Defense Corps, and specialized forces like the Nigeria Forest and Security Service is critical in addressing the complex and evolving security challenges.
Each country forest should have 25% police with security presence, but Nigeria own is just 2.3. Nigeria forest is the least police forest in the world. That is why UNTA and Forest Security Service need to be incorporated to fill in the gap as a missing link to strengthen the national security.
From urban centers to remote forests, joint operations enhance intelligence sharing, resource pooling, and tactical coordination, enabling forces to respond effectively to threats like insurgency, banditry, and organized crime.
Both the speakers and the Senate President for the proactive approach they have taken to make sure our forest is free of crimes and criminality. Nigeria need to give it to them. They are passionate, they are committed about national security.
The Nigerian Forests and Security Service had proven that they were more than just guardians of forest. They were the key to securing the ungoverned spaces of the nation. Olajide Bello, NTA News.
Towards successful implementation of the federal government's drive for equitable, transparent and sustainable tax administration reforms in Nigeria, there is need for wider engagement and input to critical stakeholders. This was the call from the coalition of northern groups, which believes that comprehensive data should be published that justifies the proposed VAT derivation formula, enabling citizens to evaluate its fairness based on concrete numbers and further bolster public trust in the reforms. The groups insist that TETFund, NASENI and NITSDA are pillars of educational, technological and industrial progress and should be exempted from restructuring. Imports, they say, should be allowed through land borders such as Kwara, Kebbi, Borno and Katsina, as well as rehabilitation of various ports across the country. The National Peace Committee says democracy has made significant progress with the conduct of consistent general elections for 25 years in the Fourth Republic. This was part of submissions at a high-level discourse on religion and democracy, with special focus on challenges to democracy in Nigeria. Timothy Yusuf reports.
Many believe the National Peace Committee has contributed to peaceful and credible elections, fostering political stability since its creation in 2014. As part of efforts to deepen the success story, the committee brought together these influential leaders from various sectors to mediate conflicts and promote dialogue on national issues.
To govern Nigeria, you don't need to be, I don't care whether you go to mosque or you go to church. Because the issues that we need to be resolved, fixing potholes, doesn't require prayer. Giving us electricity, we cannot pass that responsibility on to God. He's given us the resources, He's given us the manpower. So our responsibility as religious leaders is to also continue to hold a certain candle to those who govern.
This discourse on religion and democracy in Nigeria, with the theme, Challenges to Democracy in Nigeria, Religion as a Building Block for Democratic Growth in Nigeria, has specific objectives to better existence and quality of life.
A situation where election has not yet started and somebody is already blowing horn, is only the trumpet of crisis, and the person, nothing has happened to him, I'm against it.
It is essential that we engage these leaders in discussions about the importance of upholding democratic values such as tolerance, respect for human rights, and active participation in governance.
Participants agreed that they can potentially shape the attitude, opinion and behaviors of millions of Nigerians, and as well address the interplay between religion and governance. Timothy Yusuf, Nta News.
The National Inland Waterways Authority, NIWA, is advocating massive sensitization of riverine communities against embarking on night journeys, as most recorded water tragedies happen during the hours of darkness. Managing Director and Chief Executive of NIWA, Bolaji Oyebamiji, raised this concern during on-the-spot assessment of the recent boat mishap that led to the loss of lives in Dambo, Kukba, local government area of Kogi State. Musa Mikhail has the details.
The on-the-spot assessment visit was aimed at finding the remote cause of the accident that led to loss of lives of traders who were on their way to Kacha Market from Ebi and Kupa local government area of Kogi State. One of the survivors, Aisha Al-Hassan, who narrated her ordeal, say, though she survived after being rescued by villagers around the scene of the accident, she however lost her 10-year-old son in the unfortunate incident.
When the boat climbed the tree stump, some people found their way to a nearby highland, while some drowned. I didn't know I was going to survive it. I was trying to pull my son before I could do anything. Water had gone away with him.
The accident, which was said to have been caused by a tree stump covered by water and overloading, led to the death of an unspecified number of people.
How we will train our people not to leave the area 1, 2, 3 a.m. because they are anxious to reach Kacha market.
The numbers are not up to the way people were speculating. However, with this message from NIWA, we won't allow our people to do night travel again. We really appreciate NIWA for their role so far. The Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of NIWA, Bolaji Oyebamiji, was represented.
My call to the community is for us to, more partner with us, collaborate more with us, and in every area we are synergize to get that root cause of all this and be more in the same page.
NIWA's search and rescue team had earlier rescued some of the victims as well as some cops, even as they assured traditional institutions of its readiness to collaborate to bring to an end the frequent boat accidents across waterways in the country. Musa Mikael, Nta News.
You're watching the news desk at 6 on Nta News 24. Another look at our top stories.
Successes by a number of MOUs and agreements signed. They will be mere papers until we implement them in spirit and in letter.
Session on Nigeria-South Africa Binational Commission commences as President Tinubu harps on strengthening collaborations for Africa's prosperity. Senate approves 2025-2027 medium-term expenditure framework and fiscal strategy submitted by federal government for implementation.
The following items were recovered: 7 newly made single-barrel guns, 5 newly made double-barrel guns.
Police raid suspected gun-making factory belonging to a family in Akwa Ibom State. Arrest 1 person as suspect's father. Brothers flee. And that concludes the news at 6 on Nta News 24. Thanks for watching. I am Stella Inameti.